Springboks 43, Wales 0. A game the Boks were never going to lose, I don't think, and very dominant across all phases, but maybe not as clinical as we would like. And now we really have to start nitpicking if you're almost disappointed with a 43-0 performance. Kings Park is a ground where we don't often always see massive scores. And I think with a couple of better decisions and a couple of better handling moments, we could have probably broken the 50 margin, maybe even the 60 margin. So there's definitely room for improvement, which is good news because the Boks, again, they didn't really have to get out second gear to get the win. More to the point, debut try for Jaco Williams. Some points on the board for Vusi Moyo. Both under 20s getting through the game very well. Thought Ruben van Heerden had a very good debut. Carly Sardi, pretty epic from a scrummaging point of view on debut as well. So it's a big 2 thumbs up from getting a result, getting to the top of the Nations Championship. 3 from 3. Paul de Villiers getting a man of the match performance. So far more positives than negatives out of that match, even if there is definitely room for improvement. Wales had moments, where they held the Boks at bay. I don't think Wales ever looked particularly threatening, but they definitely had moments where the Boks were a little bit more pressured, I suppose, and I think that's good to see. We want to see the Boks, struggle a little bit and have to really work quite hard. So if you look at some of the how the game went, 2 early tries to the Boks. We went racing up to about 14-0. Nothing else really happened after that. We've kind of seen that as a bit of a trend in the last couple of weeks where we get early points and we don't always kick on after that. And I think there's a certain natural aggression that comes with the game of starting strong and then, the other team almost a bit shell-shocked starts to rally, starts to kind of come a little bit accustomed to what you're throwing at them. And then you need to start rethinking, and then you start bringing a couple of new points of differences to the game as well, which, the Boks eventually did start to do, which was good to see. That try before halftime, I think, was a nice bit of momentum into halftime. So 19-0 at halftime, and we then scored almost immediately after halftime. You can see the 2 tries right over there. So we raced to a 26-0 lead, which was, we thought we were going to be the start, but then it took a while to get another try. A bit like the first half, where we started strong and then faded off a little bit, and then we started scoring with a bit more consistency, I suppose. 1, 2, 3, and Jesse Creel getting on the board, Paul de Villiers getting on the board, Kurt Lawrence getting on the board, Martin Liebach with a nice assist, Jasper Wiese with a good try. Kobus Wiese looked very good with ball in hand. Nobody really had bad games. And to be able to rotate aside, to be able to give people opportunities and the likes of that is the main thing that we want to be able to do. And that's good to see from that point of view. But John, in terms of some stats over here, we look at overall, Paul de Villiers with the most carries, Fussy with the most meters run, Jack Morgan very big on defense. But over here you could just see possession wise we had more. Tackle percentage wise, much better. We didn't lose a single scrum. Our line out bar 1, where Vusi Moyo went a bit early and got penalised for offside, was pretty flawless. 486 meters to Wales 99. 95 carries, 11 clean breaks, and 16 tackles, 98. The tackles made, no tackles missed actually from the Boks. Well, I think it was actually 8 tackles missed from the Boks. That'll update in a bit. But set pieces in terms of that, scrums were very good, lineouts were pretty good. Didn't concede as many penalties as well, so very, very positive on that perspective. From an attack perspective, when you look at that and you're looking at the offloads, the meters around, the amount of clean breaks, very, very happy. Possession-wise, 56%. Vusi Moyo with the most points. Those are your try scorers over there. Kobus Reinach also off the back of the scrum with a try to his name. Herschel Yankees, what a game from him. Coming off the bench, reminding people what he's about. He really did, I think, up the ante. We had a really, really good cameo, which was good to see. So some very good moments from a Bok point of view. Defensively, Jack Morgan big with his defense. From a South African point of view, Ruben van Heerden topping those charts. He'll be chuffed with that kind of effort. And any coach will look at that snapshot of your set pieces and be very, very happy with what they've seen. So I think that whilst there is room for improvement, in general, there'll be no worries from the Bok coaches. They'll look at that result and say, maybe a couple of tries, we left a few points out there, but the result was never in doubt. And I think, handling will need to improve and being a bit more clinical, which I suppose comes with the handling. So there were far too many unforced errors, I think. So it was a little bit sloppy. But we're in a situation where we don't feel like we played particularly well. We've got 43 points on the board. we didn't concede any points, and we're sitting here almost trying to find some of the negatives in inverted commas. Not that I'm trying to find negatives, but I'm just saying, that's kind of the general feel. We don't sit there thinking, oh, that was the perfect performance. But it kind of just shows you that the Boks are operating at a level where we demand perfection. And anything less than that becomes a bit disappointing. But even if you look at the players, and we go through our lineup, I thought Malcolm Marx had a really good game. Kerstenkamp and Carly Sardi were brilliant at scrum time. Kubus Visa has grown to that number 4 role, and Ben Jason Dixon looks solid enough coming off the bench. Ruben van Heerden, very comfortable at this level. Maybe a bit of a quiet game for Kurt Janssen before that try. Maybe not the best game, I think, for Apane Lefassi. David Williamson came on, definitely did make a big difference. But if you look at our under 20 players, Vusi Moyo and Yaku Williams, I mean, they did not look out of place at all. And that's really good to see. Another try for Jesse Creel, who just quietly goes about his work and picks up tries. So we'll be very happy with things. I mean, you look at some of the stats that some of the individual players had, and Malcolm Marx, a very good turnover. You look at Kubus Visa getting through a lot of work, lots of carries, lots of meters made in those carries. Paul de Villiers, turnovers made as well, plenty of tackles, good carrying, good tries. So, there's no one over here when you'll go through, you'll look and it looks like a bad game, inverted commas. Yeah, maybe there were some players who didn't impact the game as much as they'd like. But in general, reasonably happy. And we will be on the top of the Nations Championship log. And that's, I suppose, the main thing that we need to worry about.